Hello, and welcome back to part 7 of the MarryMe word. Um, First, I want to preface, as I always have been prefacing since the beginning of this series, that this word is not for everybody. This word is very much for the people that know that the Lord has been telling you that He's about to connect you with somebody of influence. This word is for those of you that the Lord has been showing you you're in your Isaac and Rebecca season. This word is for those people that know that the Lord has been showing you that He's about to accelerate you through partnership with specific individual or individuals in your life, that He's going to use your marriage as the gateway to do so. This word is not for somebody that's like, ooh, I want to get married overnight. Ooh, wouldn't it be nice if I got married to a celebrity? This is not that word. Please click out. This ain't for you. I'm sorry. This is kingdom marriage. This is if the Lord has been showing you, telling you, repetitively confirming to you. With that being said, if the Lord has been, then say, I agree. Let it be so and let it not be otherwise. But for those of you it isn't, come out of alignment, renounce, denounce, come out of alignment, come out of agreement, repent for coming into agreement with it, and uproot anything that is coming from this word that does not line up with what the Lord has shown you. And most importantly, please take it back to the Lord, because you ain't going to have the Lord being mad at me because you took something out of context of what it was and you didn't receive it, because it wasn't meant for you to receive in this season, in your lifetime, because it was not for you. Okay? This is not for the celebrity obsessed. This is not for the influential or influencer obsessed. This is for people that the Lord has been talking to already. Okay? Um, where are we? So, picking up where we left off, they are challenging each other. He's challenging her to stop doing everything by having a camera person, an assistant, a this, or that, and the other thing, calling your people, all this type of stuff, telling your security guard what he's supposed to do, and that. And no, he said, how about you stop and you do that yourself? And she's like, what do you mean by do that myself? What you mean? He's like, don't use assistants. If you have something, do it yourself. She's like myself. Yeah. Some of your spouses, especially for y'all men that are expecting this trophy wife female, some of them ain't never done anything themselves. Some of you are marrying a person that has been financially and well taken care of their entire life, so they don't know how to do basics. If they wanted something done, if they needed something, if they were seeking for something, they would just ask for somebody else to do it. I've got a maid. I got what you mean you want me to do that? What you mean clean the house myself? What you mean? Yeah, some of them are like that. Now, on the flip side, she challenged him that he would have to do social media because he was the most anti-social media person in the world. Some of y'all spouses, if you're a social media person, is always on social media, constant content type person, they might be the exact opposite. I literally recall watching it was a YouTube video, was talking about, I think it was black couples or couples on getting interviewed about their life on social media, and coming into that phase where they're like, I live my life on social media because it's what I do. I do the same thing. Everything I do on social media. I don't really have anything I do outside of social media, so I don't really need to be up and out in this and that because I do content, websites, all these kinds of things. I do everything on my social media, meaning I'm doing the websites, I'm recording the podcasts, I'm doing these video lives, I'm doing my YouTube channels, I'm doing all of this type of stuff, but I'm not out here having the necessity that I need to be thinking about stuff outside of that. And even when I think about stuff outside of that, for instance, if I was to be going out, and for instance, if I'm talking about travel or if I'm talking about food or entertainment, I'm recording content in relation to travel, food, and entertainment. All of it's coming right back to social media. So it's that element of that's where my world is. So if you're dating or marry a person that's in social media and you're not, you usually find that person is, it takes a bit for them to adjust to being in your lifestyle because you always have a camera in your hand, your cell phone in front of your hand. You always working on social media posts and this, that, and the other. So, and it's normal to you because you're naturally have an affinity to it, because you got to check your posts. You got to write a blog post. Ooh, I thought of something. Let me write this down. Ooh, I see that. Let me take this photo and let me put it as a post, because your life revolves around that. You got an idea or for a topic. I need to record a podcast. Let me record that right quick. So it may be a little bit difficult for you to step away from that. And it's also maybe a little bit difficult for the other person to adjust, because what these people were saying in this interview was talking about how it's a little bit hard to adjust to being in a relationship with somebody that is constantly on their phone, because everything they do is there. And I remember watching an episode of Tamron Hall. She had a social media person on there, and the person was talking about how they had to purposely make an effort to detach themselves to live outside of this world, because when you create your world in this, it actually becomes a little bit hard to interact in the world externally of this, meaning not recording things, not doing this, not taking pictures, and that's technically where the challenge is. And that's what he was being challenged with. You don't do this. See how you can do this. Because there are elements about what you do, and there are elements about what your God ordained spouse does that can make an impact if you look at them from a different perspective and a different lens. And that's what your spouse is going to bring into your life. There may be something that you've been trying to do for the longest period of time, but when they bring their perspective in on it, it's going to be the light bulb that's necessary in order to make the thing that you've been trying to get to move. So they end up going to a private vacation spot that she had, and they drove up there. Her security followed them, and when they got up to that location, she didn't have the key. And he says, so you want forfeit now, because how you gonna get in there? She's like, I'm sure it's a key underneath the mat. And she checks and it's not there. And then she turns to her security guard who was about to yell for him. It's like, you want forfeit now? And she said, you know what? She took a rock that was sitting next to the entrance and threw it through the glass window next to the entrance so that they could open the door to get in. I hope your God-to-day spouse isn't that ill prepared that they can't even open a door. But it's a learning process. Some of them are going to have a learning curve coming into the understanding of doing certain things with you. And you may think, shouldn't you know how to do this? I mean, you've been around for as long as whoever it is. How do you not know how to? Some of them just have become so accustomed to living their lives the way that they've lived their lives. They don't have that connection the way that you would think to the average everyday stuff. That they've been so out of touch doing it or connected to whatever it is that when you show them again, they're like, oh, okay. So they get inside and they get themselves together. She says, I want to make a smoothie. So she sits down and she starts making the smoothie, and he watches her. And she's making the smoothie, puts everything in there, puts the milk, puts puts the almond milk, puts the juice that she want in there, puts her fruits and all that stuff in there. He watches her. And then she hits the button. And that stuff starts spraying everywhere. And then he manages to point out, you forgot to put the lid back on it. Some of them are really just that out of touch. Some things that you're going to show them to do, they're going to be out of touch with. They're going to be like, how you do that? You're like, you don't know how to do this? I'm be honest with you. There's some things that I don't know how to do. And people might think, because I'm like an average everyday person, I should know how to do this. Perfect example. Drive a car, ride a bike, skate. Some of those basic things that you would think, roller skate, whether it's roller skate, ice skate, any of those types of things, I don't know how to do that. And I had an injury to my leg when I was a teenager, and I can't run. It's not to say that I can't. I don't know whether it is the fact that I need rehabilitation on my ankle, or I just need to find the right regimen to strengthen my leg again. But I have problem running. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. Maybe that's part of the spiritual reason why I have not been able to move or maneuver as quickly as I desire to move. That's my point. So it's his birthday. Oh, skip that. She teaches him when they go back to the school. They said she gets the kids to help him to develop an entire social media plan. So the social media is developed or put together by all of the students in his class. So he doesn't understand it. They figure out a name for it and all this kind of stuff. And then She's sitting at his desk and she's like, I'm looking at this guy who has this like math social media. He's kind of cool. They're going to help you do certain things that's going to enhance what it is that you do. He was a math teacher, so they created a social media around the subject of math. There may be things that you already have your hands into, your god ordained spouse may be able to look at, and you said and say, hey, if you do this a little bit differently, rearrange it this way, and then put it in this type of format, you can get the attention that's necessary by the right people, XYZ. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what they do. And then his birthday comes up and she takes him to the amusement park and they share a kiss at the amusement park on the Ferris wheel. Your God ordained spouse, they have the ability to treat you. Some of you, when your God ordained spouse, especially if that person has affluence and can make things happen, it may be a little bit intimidating, the things that they do for you just because they can. You think of a birthday as somebody buying you a cake, putting some candles on it, happy birthday, let's go to dinner. They think of birthday as I'm going to take you on vacation, I'm going to give you rose petals across the beach, and then we're going to have a picnic out on the veranda of a hideaway vista villa that they bought for you, or not bought, but rented out for that weekend because they can. And you sitting up there like, I'd have been good with a cake and dinner. But that's how much they care. They want to do something a little bit more for you, more than what you're used to. And you got to let them. You have to be accepting of it. You have to be willing to receive it when it happens. It's like I was saying the other day about Deanna Inez. She did a word where she was talking about some of your God ordained spouses are feeling emotions, and spiritually they are trying to connect with you, and you are spiritually trying to cut off your feelings because you don't want to feel anything right now. I have to be admitting that even before I started recording this content today, I was in a very frustrated, irritated mood. I've been that way for about the past, I'll say 18 hours. I was frustrated. Sometimes when you're kind of in a season where you feel stuck, where you feel like, I know what the Lord has shown me, I know what the Lord has told me, I ain't there yet, but God keeps constantly reminding you when you don't want to be reminded of the fact that you ain't there yet, but He keeps telling you that's where you're going to be, and you're like, I get that, but I'm not there yet, so because I'm not there yet, stop talking to me. That's like a person coming up to you that you know, and they're telling you all the great things that you're going to do, and you're like, if you don't shut up about the things that I'm going to do, I ain't there yet. I don't need to focus my energy on that. I need to focus on where I am right now. Because when I focus my energy on that, all that does is do what? Makes you frustrated. Because you're not there. I'm not there. Because I'm not there, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to deal with it. It's not my headspace. Because it's not my headspace at this point in time, leave me out of it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of where you are. you're trying to find that balance. You're trying to find that place. You're trying to find, I'm in this existence as of right now, but I know that I'm going to that other place. I'm not there yet, but God keeps reminding me that I'm going to be there, but I'm not there. And the frustration is, I'm not there. Stop telling me that I'm going to be if I ain't there yet. I need to focus on where I'm at. So it's being able to still feel for the promise, even though you're not there yet. God's showing you. God's telling you. You're getting confirmation after confirmation. Let me tell you something. I started releasing this word 3 days ago. Yes. And because of me starting to release this word, I started releasing it, and I started seeing subsequently the people that I listened to were releasing similar words. Overnight success, overnight tycoon, overnight business person, overnight celebrity. You're about to be famous. Overnight, overnight, overnight. I've been seeing overnight for the past 3 days. Since I started releasing this word, I'm like, okay, thank you for confirmation. But still ain't there. Some of us, and I said this earlier on in one of the other videos, that because we ain't there, we kind of get to a point where we're passive aggressive about the situation. We do what we need to in order to get what we need to get done. But outside of that, we frustrated because it's like, I've even heard of, Megan Michelle went through this a few weeks ago. She went on a break for a month from releasing words because she felt like, my life ain't there yet, so why am I talking about this? And I hear a lot of people that the Lord has given words about, and they're kind of like, why should I release this? My life doesn't match up. Because there's somebody that's listening. Somebody listening to this needs this. Somebody listening to this that feels that the Lord's trying to tell them this needs to receive this. It needs to receive this as the encouragement to keep going. Needs to hear me say it. You understand what I'm saying? And because of that, not only that, you need the encouragement internally, because just like Deani Nev said in her video, she was saying that your spouse feels how you feel. Not only that, God feels your feelings. I was listening to a word this morning by another young woman I listened to, and I didn't initially want to click on it, and I was thinking about, is this another video talking about the feelings that the spouse has? But actually it was talking about the feeling that Jesus has towards us when he sees that we are frustrated with certain things. And he cries for us crying. And he cries for our frustration. And he knows that we feel these things. If you're in an emotional state, feel it. Feel the emotions of that. Allow yourself to feel. I had a full-on real conversation with the Lord last night, cursing and everything. Oh, you can't cuss. Me and God have a very specific relationship. If I'm angry, he doesn't want me to hold in my emotions. I would prefer to be mad and cussing mad in a private conversation with the Lord, him understanding that I get that way, than to sit and be amongst people being that way, cussing, fussing, all this kind of stuff, when that's out of my character. Some of y'all don't want to be real with God. I heard a minister, the apostle I listened to, he said some of y'all be mad and you have a certain set of expletives that come out your mouth when you're angry. That's why I listen to that apostle, because he is honest enough to say that when you're frustrated, yeah, you do have to cuss, and sometimes you do have to fuss because you over it. You're over the foolishness. You're over the warfare. You're over these petty little battles. You're over it. And this word is going in a completely different direction. But my point being is when it comes down to these relationships, you have to be willing to be open with God about that. And if you're feeling your God-ordained spouses, because a lot of you are feeling your God-ordained spouse's emotions and you're feeling conflicted because you don't understand where the emotion is coming from because you don't feel that way and weren't feeling that way 5 minutes ago. But now you're feeling love, or now you're feeling frustrated, or now you're feeling angry, and you're trying to figure out where it's coming from, or you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling depressed and you know you're not depressed because it's coming from them. And we forget that sometimes. It's part of being in a relationship with a God-ordained mate. You feel their emotions, and they feel yours. So, with that being said, they're trying to work on trying to get this mathalon together, and here comes Bastion making a major entrance, like I am all the center of attention, comes to the school, and all the students come running to him. Oh my God, it's Bastion! Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, making a big scene. And he comes in and she looks at him like, what in the world are you doing here? And he says, our song won the Grammys and they want us to perform in Madison Square Garden. I'm doing a performance and I would love for you to be part of it. And she's like, that show is XYZ time. I don't have time, and nor do I have dancers in order to be able to perform that song. She's trying to get out of it. And he said, well, it would be fine if we just did the ballad version. Remember, we recorded a ballad version that was supposed to come out after we got married. And in the meantime, here is, what's his name? Charlie standing there like, am I chopped liver? And she's like, oh, let me think about that. He pulls her to the side and they go into standing into the stairwell. And she's like, this is a great opportunity. Oh my God, I should be able to. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, this is the guy that turned around and he cheated on you. And now he wants you to perform the song with him. Are you sure you want to do that? Remember how I was just talking about emotions and frustrations and all of this kind of stuff? This man is angry because he know this man don't want her. He just trying to use this as a ploy to get back with her. But he also knows that she was about 5 seconds to hopping on a plane to go to Puerto Rico with this guy. So it's an element of frustration, emotional anger, all this kind of stuff is there, but he's trying to act mature about it, and he's like, look, do what you need to do. And then she's like, what you talking about? Like, are you sure? What do you mean? And he's like, do what you need to do. Meanwhile, they end up going to the event, and it's a live streamed event. His daughter and the guidance counselor friend of his, Camille, are all sitting there and in his daughter's bedroom. He comes to the door trying to peep, like he trying to watch her performing the song with him, and they perform it. But if you watch J-Lo's expression, or Kat's expression, through the performance, she's stiff-necked towards Bastion, meaning she's very much only performing it. She's not engaging in him. So she's standing there. She's not engaging him to be very charismatic and chemistry between the two of them, only just to be in the action of what it is that she needs to do. It's a body language thing. If you don't understand body language, you may not see it. So he sees the two of them dancing or singing on the stage, and he's like, oh, okay. And his daughter says, get your behind down to the garden, which he then takes that as okay, I'm going to go. So he heads down there and immediately gets up there. They're having a rooftop celebration after the performance, and he's watching from the door. And then he comes up there and she's in a good mood, and he's kind of in this mode of, she looks so happy, maybe I don't belong in this situation. And some of you may feel that way. Some of you are going to come into this situation, whatever your God-ordained spouse, whether you're a male or a female, are going to come into a situation, whatever the level of influence this person has, and you're going to feel like the outsider. You're going to feel like, I'm forcing myself to be in this situation that I don't belong in. But God's placed you there. God wants you there. God desires for you to be there. And you may actually do what he did. He's like, look, I'm not fit to be in this situation. Maybe I should just back out here. And she's having herself a moment, which, for one thing, if you have this issue, don't sit up there and do it in front of everybody. Even if you pull them to the side, if you have this issue and problem, wait until y'all get back home. Wait until you can have a situated sit-down conversation. Don't sit up there and do that in front of everybody. Because matter of factly, if you do sit down, you might actually find out how they truly feel about the situation after they sat and thought about it. You'll hear their heart for you, not the person, not everything that's going on. A lot of that stuff is an act that they have to do because they need the audience to feel that way. So that's what she's dealing with. And he's trying to pull out of the relationship. And you can tell that her heart is broken by the fact that he even did that right there. So we're going to come back, and this should be the final part right after this. So hold on. We'll be right back.